He was out there with my dad and my brother. Call the meeting to order.
Too many meetings.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Betty David.
Here.
Roger Mayhew. Charles Wiltie. Brenda Simmons.
Here.
Craig Scott.
Here.
Approval of the agenda. Any additions or corrections, commissioners?
I don't have any. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott.
Second.
Support from Commissioner Simmons. And any further discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, declaration of conflict of interest.
I have none
Commissioners?
today.
You do?
I have none today.
Oh, I said you had one.
No, I haven't.
Commissioner Simmons, do you have?
I'm not affiliated with anything, so no, I don't have anything.
Item 4, review of minutes, November 21st, 2023, regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept them as presented.
We have a motion for Commissioner Scott.
Second.
Support from Commissioner Simmons. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4B, December 7th, 2023, Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
There's a motion to accept them as presented.
Motion from Commissioner Scott.
Second.
Support from Commissioner Simmons. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, public comment and an agenda item manners. Any public comment in the room? Come on up, sir.
Nobody provided a chair.
Oh, I don't know if they can see it from there.
I'm just here to ask for your support on the vote for the sergeant's position that I need. And someone can make good swift decisions and follow the policies and procedures. I'm up here to ask for your support for that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So I'm up here to ask for your support for the sergeant position that's going to be voted on today or talked about.
All right.
It's a position that I need someone there that can make swift decisions and follow the policies and procedures liability wise. Very important to have the structure over there, military structure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any public comment on the phone? Item 6, correspondence. We received correspondence from Osable Valley Community Mental Health Authority related to their November 27th, 2023 meeting minutes. Northeast Michigan Community Service Agency related to their November 3rd, 2023 board meeting minutes and December 1st, 2023 board meeting agenda. Those have been received and filed. Consent agenda, commissioners. How do you guys feel about taking the appointment members, which would be item D, E, and F, and combining those? Are you guys okay?
C. How about C, D, and E?
And F.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say C, D, F too.
Is special G okay to?
Pardon me?
G okay to put that in with it too?
Yep.
It's a
Housing.
It's a committee, housing committee.
Yeah, has there been any more information on that?
No, other than we have to establish it before you can.
We're just establishing a committee.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a
problem. I'll make a motion to consent to C, D, E, F, G.
I'll second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Scott, support from Commissioner Simmons. Item 7C is resolution to expand and appoint members to the Ogemaw County Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. Item 7D is resolution to appoint members to the Ogemaw County's Parks and Recreation Commission. Item 7E is resolution to appoint members to the Ogemaw County Planning Commission. Item 7F is resolution to appoint members to the Ogemaw County Zoning Board of Appeals. Item 7G is resolution to establish a special housing advisory committee. We have a motion with support. Any further discussion on those that I just read?
Good.
All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7A. 7A is, what happened to my thing here? I lost it.
Resolution to approve the same.
Yeah, I know, but item 7A is resolution to approve an agreement for child assessment services.
I am in full support of the child assessment services, and I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to for $5,000.
I'll second.
Motion from Commissioner Scott, support from Commissioner Simmons. And this for a 1 year for a total annual cost not to exceed $5,000. Roll call vote.
Jenny David,
Yes.
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Item 7B, resolution to authorize employee promotion. This resolution is a position allocation which limits the number of permanent employees who can be employed in all departments, offices, and the courts. You can have no budget constraints. The Board of Commissioners determine that the position vacant during the fiscal year shall not be filled to review and approval of the board. Ogemaw County Sheriff Brian Gilbert seeks to promote a corrections officer to fulfill a vacant correction sergeant position. Questions, commissioners?
Well, I'm not at a point in time right now that I like to vote on this. I'd like to make a motion to table this.
We have a motion to table this. Is there a support of that? I'll support it. Any further discussion on it?
Charlie's on the committee with me, law enforcement committee, and right now I think we can wait and we'll table it to the next meeting.
You guys had a law enforcement committee meeting?
We did.
And some discussion was.
There was some discussion on it. So.
Okay, so there'll be more to come on that?
Yep.
We can do a roll call vote on that?
You don't have to. You can do a voice vote.
All in favor of tabling the resolution to authorize employee promotion? Say yes.
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 Item 7H, resolution to authorize execution of a local consent agreement for the state and local cybersecurity grant program. This resolution, do you guys have any questions on it?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve it. I imagine you'll have.
We have a motion from Commissioner Scott, support from Commissioner Simmons. Tom, are you on? Do you have anything to add to this?
Right.
Hi.
I don't have anything to add right now.
This is we talked about this in the committee of the whole. This is to apply for the grant, correct?
Correct. We're only applying. We're not obligated to take it.
Okay. Is there an amount? I don't see the amount in the resolution or in the.
There is stipulations down below about the percentage that it covers. Jim did check a couple boxes there. Scroll down.
Okay. Did we have a motion? Would somebody?
I made a motion to approve the resolution
I got lost.
so that we could discuss it.
Motion, Mr. Scott. Did someone support it?
Oh,
You said
didn't
you did,
you
but
did,
I don't
didn't you?
think you did. She did.
I do. I will. Can we get a roll call vote on that?
Roger Mayhew. No, can he vote on this one? Yeah.
He's here.
This is for a grant for the cybersecurity. It's just to apply for the grant.
Okay.
Roll call vote.
Yeah.
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Craig Scott.
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes. Item 7I, resolution to approve a letter of agreement with the Police Officers Labor Council Command Officers Unit. This resolution is sponsored by Administrator / Controller Timothy Delahoney. An agreement was reached between representatives of Ogemaw County Sheriff, and the Police Officers Labor Council Patrol Deputy Unit for the period of October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2024. Section 5.9 of the collective bargaining agreement sets forth rules for member employee who may elect to utilize statutory or administrative remedies in lieu of the grievance procedure offered in the agreement. Recent changes to the Michigan Workers' Compensation Act and rules governing the Equal Opportunity Commission may reflect with the provisions of Section 5.9. Approval of the resolution will accept a letter of agreement with the Police Officers Labor Council Patrol Deputy Unit to address possible conflicts between the agreement and state rules.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion from Commissioner Scott. Support from Commissioner Simmons. Tim, can you explain this?
I will, and I will defer if our county attorney who's on Zoom has any corrections to what I say. Please accept his comments. But my understanding is when the statute and the rules at the state were changed, we are no longer able to just say to an employee, you may use the grievance procedure or statutory ability to file suit or whatever. The reason this is in the contract is you only want to fight a grievance one time. You don't want to have to go twice. And so the intent was to consolidate that. The employee has to choose which remedy they seek. The amendments to these two items there at the state level have told us, no, you can't do that for these purposes. So if we are at, there's a rule, for instance, at one of the state administrative boards that says, no, you can't, you can do both. We're not going to conflict with that. The state says this is what shall be. So the intent of the language is to recognize that. And if there are conflicts, then obviously the statute or the state rule is what's going to take precedent. This was reviewed and actually formulated by our council, and that's why you've got the language the way it's written in the letter of understanding. And of course, we would not want to violate state statutes, so it certainly makes sense to go ahead and approve it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, whenever they change, somebody else changes the rules on us, we have to change with it. So I don't have a problem with this one or the next question too. On the same.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7J, resolution to approve the letter of agreement with the Police Officers Labor Council Patrol Deputy Unit. This resolution is sponsored by Administrator / Controller Timothy Delahoney. An agreement was reached between representatives of Ogemaw County Sheriff, and the Police Officers Labor Council Patrol Unit for the period of October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2024. Section 5.9 of the collective bargaining agreement sets forth rules for member employee who may elect to utilize statutory or administrative remedies in lieu of the grievance procedures offered in the agreement. Recent changes to the Michigan Workers' Compensation Act and rules governing the Equal Opportunity Commission may reflect with the provisions of Section 5.9. Approval of the resolution will accept a letter of agreement with the Police Officers Labor Council Patrol Deputy Unit to address possible conflicts between the agreement and state rules.
For the same reasons as the previous motion, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
A second.
Motion from Commissioner Scott, support from Commissioner Simmons. Tim, do you have anything to add to that?
No, same rationale as the prior.
Yeah.
Almost the same language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries. Business, Sean Petrie, related to Core Intermediate School District 2024 CTE millage proposal. Come on up, Mr. Petrie.
Thank you. I'll be really quick, but I've got a lot of information to give you that will kind of you can look at, you discuss or have conversations. So if you take one of each of these and pass around, please. Thank you. For already got it. That's
I already got one. Thank you.
So as we already know, Core Intermediate School District is on February 27th on the ballot for a millage proposal for career tech ed at 1 mil. Things I'd like to explain previous to that is a lot of times there's questions about what do you receive as an ISD for current villages. There's a chart that I've given to the commissioners and we were willing to share with anybody. If you look at that chart on millage rates, it's an Excel sheet. Man, let me hold that up.
2 pages.
It's 2 pages. If you look at the front page, you'll notice Jackson ISD receives the highest levy at 8 mils. If you look at the very bottom, Core ISD is the least funded in millage wise of the entire state of Michigan. Core ISD for special ed education, which we get a 0.75 for special ed, at least hit that a little bit. The offering for general ed start at a 0.3, but we're lower than that now, like 0.2 such because of Headley. If you add it up, we're just at about 1.042 mils at an ISD. That is the lowest funded ISD in the entire state of Michigan, with the second largest geographical districts. We're only second in size to Eastern UP. We are 2,600 square miles. If you've seen our buses, they run 2,600 square miles twice a day. And that's being paid for through the millages and other grants we write and things we get from the state. However, that shocked me. It didn't shock me. I'm very proud of how we are very frugal with what we operate with for the schools. If you look at our audit, I should have brought it. You'd be shocked at the outgoing transfers that we have and what we receive, we give out to the school districts. If you look at the November 23rd Herald, it talks about some grants that Core wrote for Ogemaw Heights and West Branch Rose City School to get money for career tech ed equipment, as well as for library materials for elementary and middle cities. So we're very, very connected with the districts. We work with the districts. The Career Tech Ed piece, I've talked about it in the past, but just as a reminder, all the superintendents, we meet weekly. We worked an initiative 2 years ago to work with our legislators and lobby them. They put Core ISD in for $2.5 million to build an automotive and welding structure attached to Roscommon Middle School. So we can take all of our programs that were in Houghton Lake and Mile and spread all out and bring them to one location. So that was paid for by the state of Michigan. That construction is complete. And all of you have an open house invitation on January 9th. Please come take a look at it at the middle school in Roscommon. Why do we do that? There's no way we could be asking to build an entirely new building. We don't have anything for Career Tech Ed. When Kirtland left their old campus, we lost what we had there. We had to move into the different school districts. Thus, kids were driving all over the place. So what we've done is consolidate this. We also, I'll talk about later in this, Core ISD does pay for the busing of all the buses to bring the kids. It makes it tight, but I don't want the kids driving on the road. So we, in May, pay for the mileage at the IRS rate plus the bus driver time to bring the students in all of our districts, except for Charlton Heston. All districts are coming to the ISD and bringing students. I'm happy to report over the last 3 years, we went from about 47 students in Career Tech Ed to 220 currently and growing. And all districts, that would be Crawford, every one of them are busing there. However, we can only afford an AM program. Thus, you maximize the number of students you can see in those programs with what you can afford. So we can maximize maybe getting to 300 where we currently stand, but we can't go beyond that. We can't continue to look at what we do. Things I will explain, and I will go through the whole PowerPoint, but I think it's quicker for me. That's why I wanted to give it to you to explain the points to it. What we do is all of our college core, all of our classes, every one of our classes there offer college credit, whether it's through Ferris State University Early Middle College, whether it's through Kirtland, and we're working on an agreement with ACC because our Fairview students, probably some of them do go over to LPN. So we look at that opportunity. We do pay for, as an ISD, their first 2 years of tuition. That does come out of our budget. So with that, the Early Middle College, the 13th year, and I think many of you are familiar, my son, Grayson, worked through the public safety with the Kirtland and now is working as a deputy in Roscommon. I appreciate his start. He had a great start here at Ogemaw, did a wonderful job. That made him love becoming an officer. So I appreciate that. And when that being said, that made him want to go and teach. So he is working currently for Roscommon County, but he took the program at no cost whatsoever to him for any college of guys associates. Now he's pursuing his bachelor's while he's a deputy. We have several students who have done that. We have that in welding, we have that in cosmetology, we have that in public safety, we also have that in the automotive. They can get upward of, like Grayson left with about 60 credits, college credits paid for. That's about the maximum they can get with that. But the point you look at is that is an associate's.
Yeah.
To grow this, to get us to 400 students, to add more programs, to be able to increase our early middle college, to be able to continue with transportation, we're still going to continue to move forward because I believe in the kids. You budget, you move forward. But by passing this millage in February on the 27th, we'll be able to expand our services for all 4 counties. Even if we get this and you look in that chart, the best will be is third from the bottom. So I'm very proud of what we do. I'm very proud of what we flow out to the districts. I'm very proud of the relationships we have and what we're doing for the schools. This is something we want to bring forth to everyone across all 4 counties to show and see the need, how it services our kids. And I know that you just don't think about that level of it. Your kids are being taken care of well, but we can do more. We can have more plumbers, we can have more construction, we can have more electricians, we can have more officers. If we can go from 200, be able to go to AM and PM programming, 2 bus runs that you pay for, full-time instructors. Right now our instructors are part-time, they work jobs and they come in and they teach. If we can expand all of that, we can expand the opportunities for all 4 counties for the kids in trades and continue to grow. So I'm gonna make sure I did not miss anything on this. Pretty much, I would recommend if you get a chance, go on to coreisd.net. We just rebuilt a new website. It's much more conducive to being used. I think you'll like it. The very top is a millage, all the millage proposal materials to include, and I put them back there, are handouts that we've been sending out. We're also doing a mailer to all the households as well, so they can understand the need for the students and what we're doing. There's a copy of the PowerPoint on there as well. But I just want to take a few moments to share, and I appreciate that time because I know you have a lot more to do, but just have an opportunity to share the why, what we're looking to go forward, what we do now, and what we want to do with it in the future. And so also the other thing is we're looking at a 10-year setting, not a 20. The state would allow us to go for a 20. I wanted 10 because I want to be able to come back in 10 years and celebrate what we've done, go around and celebrate how we've grown, but also bring it back to the voters to say yes or no to, because I'm a true believer. If you have us to receive it, we've got to prove it and how we're using it. But I was really not happy, but also can understand the millage rates across the state. These are things, and we're capped. We can't go any higher than 1 mil. The other piece you look at, if you do run your budget and you bring the money in and you're over budget per se, people say, what if you bring in extra? I know that everyone can understand. You can also look at when you do your 40-29, and I do that every year, and I send it out, we can drop it down to 0.85. It can be 0.95. You won't, the cap you can levy is 1. But it's good to look at if you're going above and beyond, you don't want to build a nest egg. You want to be able to show people what you've done. So those are capabilities that we can do as well based upon what comes in. And I'd be willing every year to come out and do a report to show so people can see how we're using it. I'll pause there for any questions.
Why the decision to go on the February ballot?
When you look at the actual November ballot, there's a lot of things going to be on it. We just looked at the soonest opportunity to try to go for it. There was really saying at this point, I think we have enough information to go for it. There was no real strategic matter to say in one way or another. Because you're going to have equivalent amount of people coming in for the primaries anyhow. So that's kind of the reasoning. We're just looking at that's the best point as we look at it with the board to go for it. I didn't want to have to go 2 years out, etc., or go on too deep into 24. Just a decision that we think we're ready. Because it's been a 5-year plan to move this. Since I came to the superintendent, I've been looking at what do we grow in our program. And some people ask, what have you done in special ed? I'd love to do an open house. We've spent a lot of money on the building, upgrading safety, infrastructure, scrubbers, and that's in our center-based program, as well as our adult program, ROC. We've done a lot of expansions in there. It's just a matter of budgeting and planning 2 and 3 years out with what you have. So the reasoning was the board looked at it. It just felt like it was good timing. I don't have a real strategy behind that.
Any other questions? Any questions for Mr. Petrie?
When did you say the open house was? January
9th. I think did I hand it out to everybody? I haven't here if I did not. You should have got it as one of the handouts. I'll look and see and make sure you get it. Should be up there.
I just get, yeah, I just gave it one.
All right, so yes, please come up and walk through it. You'll be amazed at the welding lab. You'll be amazed at the auto lab.
They're all mine.
You also, what we also did was one full hallway that they really weren't using at the middle school because of as years they went down in size. All the districts have. We utilized that hallway to put our public safety, put our teaching academy, and I'm really excited to talk about. We're looking on the piece that we have. We've expanded into IT and marketing. We've expanded into the teaching academy. The students come to the center, and then they also spend time, a large amount of time, in the classrooms with teachers, learning to see if they want to do this as a field. That was a call from the superintendents. We know we're short teachers. The same thing with the public safety. We've expanded now from public safety. We also bring in level 1 fire. So we're working on the fire side of it as well. So students are getting both to explore, do I want to go into the fire side of things or go into the police officer side of things? What's my expansions? And I'm really excited to say also, the kids that come, they're having an opportunity to land a credential or a degree. I don't know of any other ISDs that are fully paying for all college credits for the students yet at 1 mil and really having no career tech ed mil. We write a lot of grants that come from the state. It's the same.
So I guess that was my question. How much, and you might have stated this, but how much of your funding is just from the millage?
For career tech ed?
Yeah.
None. We get no millage. The 1.042 is special ed and general ed only.
Okay.
So we do allocate some general ed funds for transporting students and such, which takes taxpayer money to work for those students as well through general ed fund. We can't do through special ed, but that's all the funding we receive. What we act on funding is, and that's another point in it, we have to be a tuition-based program. So it's $2,000 a year per student to come. So if you look at that, that's about $400,000 coming this year. That's not a lot to operate on. However, if the millage passes, it'd be zero tuition to the schools. They keep that $2,000 per student for the students that they're sending. Also, if you look at that concept, the transportation would be covering that, and then any growth of programming would be covered there, and or expansion of early middle colleges for more associates opportunities for students.
Do you have any numbers as far as how many Ogemaw County residents?
Students we have there?
Yeah.
We're about 22 right now transporting out because what happens is they look at their program at Ogemaw Heights. If they don't offer that program in there that we do, like automotive, like Teacher Academy, like the IT, that's the students that they send up that way. And that's only been increasing and will continue to increase. So they've done a great job of saying to the students, here's probably like now 15 programs you can take between what we offer at the high school and what CORE offers. And now that they're being transported by bus, they're not driving every day. We had students I would see at the gas station in Myers heading for cosmetology every day last year. And that bothered me every day. And that's why we implemented, we need to be paying for their transportation. I don't want them on the highway on a snowy day. So right now, but with that, there's a significant increase I see coming because it increases every year as we increase offerings that they may not, but it really does give the kids the base of it all. Because coming from West Branch, they have a great program for the kids there as well. And we all know that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
For the vocational ed, if anybody, if you've ever had tried to get a plumber or electrician, it's very difficult because they're so busy and there's not a lot of them. And it's getting fewer and fewer all the time. With a program like that, there will be more plumbers. And these vocational education classes, I mean, when you become an electrician or a plumber, they make really great dollars and cents for wages. So it would just enhance, and it gives them an opportunity here. So we just don't have enough people in the vocational field that can satisfy what we need in Ogemaw County right now, because there's not a lot of them.
If you look on page 4, that does give you the programming. I didn't want it because I was trying to trim down what I'd say. This gives all those programming, CT programs in all 4 counties. You'll see course. You'll see what you have. Ogemaw, Charlton has the one at Crawford, the construction, is moving their program to court.
Do we have a copy of that?
Yeah, it's in our packet.
It's you have it. This right here.
It's in our packet.
But now I got one right here. I can hand it.
You have to have it.
We have it. It's right there, page 4.
No, I didn't keep that.
I always got an extra. There you go. Everyone should know how to reach me. Hit Natalie's contacts in the back. You know how to reach out to me. I would love to talk with anybody about it. I'm very passionate for it, but I want to give you the reasoning behind it. I think it's only fair.
Thanks, Mr. PG.
Thank you. If I slide out, I apologize. I have a 10 o'clock with the superintendent.
You're good. Go ahead.
One more question. Have you spoke with any of the organizations, let's say here in Ogemaw County, like the Optimist Club,
Yes.
Kiwanis Club, stuff like that?
We're in process now, like of all the counties, Rotary, Optimus, Kiwanis. I'm going to those as well. And we are going to all 4 counties, as well as the agent and the commission on aging, I'm sorry. As well as any other organizations. We have a committee that's formed of all the districts, meaning board members are involved in it, superintendents are involved in it. It's a CTE committee to guide all of this conversation by all districts, not just my office.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, claims. Claims are total of $237,990.77. Myself and Commissioner Scott reviewed claims.
I looked them over. It would be very small if it wasn't for that purchase from Transit.
$87,630.
Yeah, other than that, it'd be pretty small. I didn't see anything that was alarming.
I seen winter tax bills, there was on there, title check was on there. What was the Michigan State Police jail service for $11,000? What is that? Do we know? Did you see that on there?
Obviously I saw it at one point, but I don't remember off the top of my head. $11,000.
Yeah, it said Michigan State Police jail service, and that's all that it said for $11,000. I just didn't know what it was.
Oh no, you're talking about the Motorola. That's broken up into 2 sections.
I don't think so. I meant to reach out to you. I apologize. I did them late the other night.
The Motorola is the one to provide for the jail and the sheriff's office as far as the reporting and when you're booked in, it's the reporting system. So the state of Michigan oversees that, and that's the yearly fee that's associated with that program, Motorola.
Membership and subscription / sheriff membership and subscription. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's broken into 2 sections. It's
3,800 and 7,200.
That's for the sheriff's office is the 38, and then the 7,200 is for the jail facility. Again, it's one big system, but there's multiple components the jail uses. The jail portions, and the sheriff's office uses it for reporting reporting and all our required state level reporting for crimes and whatnot.
There was a housing bill in there too.
Yeah.
It's just a pass through. So yeah, that was the big one, was Miller Construction for $87,631. I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Okay.
Any further questions? Roll call vote.
Craig Scott,
Yes.
Jenny David.
Yes.
Roger Mayhew.
Yes.
Brenda Simmons.
Yes.
Item 9, unfinished business. Any commissioners?
I have no.
Item 10, administrator / controllers report.
Yeah, you've got the lengthy report in the on your iPads. A few things I want to point out. On the first page, you note that we had 6 FOIA requests during this report period, which is unusually high, but something I want to point out on 3 of them. First off, number 4 down, it looks like it's a repeat of the one above it, where it says City of West Branch. It really should say Village of Prescott. So a typo on that, but they were very similar requests. But those 2 in the top request, something new to me, these were actually submitted by a company that's set up to file FOIA requests, which I'd never heard of before. They're based out of Louisiana. They get $95 per request. 2 of the requests they sent to us, but they should have gone to the City of West Branch and the Village of Prescott. So what I typically do on requests like that are to the wrong place, I have to deny it. There's language I have to use, but I also put in the reply that you should contact this number or this email to get the documents you want. So we don't just leave them hanging, but they were denied because they were sent to the wrong place. But I don't know if this is a trend, if this is something new. If it is, we probably are going to see a few more down the line.
Comment.
Go ahead.
This was brought up at a township hall meeting. And what we basically have to do is give them all the information, their database and everything, all that stuff to that committee, because the township had explored that. So, and they decided, no, they're not going to get in access to our databases and all that. They said, absolutely not. We're not going to give them all our information.
For a FOIA request, you're talking?
Yeah, they have to have all this information to do those FOIA requests. This company does.
Can you deny it?
Well, it depends on what they ask for. In this case, the ones I read were very simple. They wanted a copy of the contract and they wanted to know what the software package was that was being used. Or in this case, a utility billing, and I think one of them was an HR management. Well, we don't have either of those here at the county, so it was easy to deny. But on a reply to something like that, I would give them the basic information. Here's a copy of the contract, which is public information anyway. And if they want to know what the software is, we'll tell them. If they want to know if it was BSNA, would tell them, but it's right in the contract, so they could see that. With that, give them the database. That's a different request.
All right.
And depending on what's in that database, I mean, we may have to give out some, but there's a lot of things that would be redacted. For instance, we're not going to give out personal phone numbers or personal addresses or things along those lines.
Names.
Now, where that gets to be problematic is if it's a huge database, and we had a request for, well, it was last year, for every email from the clerk's office referencing elections for the last 15 years. Well, we can certainly provide that. But it's going to cost. It's going to cost a substantial amount. In that case, we estimated it would be close to $10,000 to do all the search that was required, and then to go through each email and redact things that are not public. So in that case, we reply by saying, we'll do this, but under statute, you need to provide us a check with 50% of this cost. If we don't receive that within 45 days, we're going to consider your request abandoned, which is exactly what happened in this case. And this was a FOIA that had been peppered throughout the state, throughout the country. I don't think anybody filled the request, but nevertheless, we just weren't going to put that kind of time into it without some money up front. Okay. So, but getting back to your question, it just depends on what's in the database as to whether or not we would give it up. Some databases, you've seen Randy in here a couple of times on when we discuss fees, he now and then gets a request for the entire tax roll. Well, he can give that up, but there's certain ways he can do that, first of all, so that it doesn't cost so much in terms of time and resources to do it. But that's a database we can also charge for as a database and not just as a whole. Yeah. So that kind of plays into this as well.
My thoughts are, if you sign up with a company do all of our FOIA requests and we have to pay X amount of dollars for each one, let's say $95. And I understand, $95 not a lot, but just seems like once you start doing something like that, sometimes it can lead into bigger and big, and it just kind of grows. And once they say the camel gets its nose under the tent, pretty soon the camel's got the whole tent. So that's the only thing I'd be cautious about is joining some sort of organization that does our FOIA stuff. I'm just leery.
Well, I may have misspoke. This isn't something that we subscribe to. This is something that, in this case, some private individual hired this company for $95 to submit the FOIA request to us.
Okay.
Is that a good investment of your money? That's the individual needs to answer that. But I've never seen a company that's set up just to create FOIA requests before. And I don't know if that's a business model that can be sustained or not, but we'll probably find out.
People don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really know where to start or who to contact. I had a couple questions. In your report, it looks like there was a couple, I don't know if it's necessarily claims. One was for $156, the other one was $815 for some incidents that happened that we agreed to pay. Does our insurance company pay that?
No, we pay that out of a line item in the 901. I'm escaping the name. It's like general activity. But what we do with these, because there's two things in both cases. They both were accidents, if you will, that you might normally send to your insurance carrier. In both cases, they don't even come close to meeting the deductible. Second, and we do this through the claims policy. If they don't hit the insurance carrier as a claim, that it doesn't factor into our rates for the coming year. So that plays into this as well. But in both cases, for this small amount, the person who suffered the damage actually signs a waiver as well. So that says that in exchange for this payment, that's it. There will be no other action taken against the county for anything.
Who negotiates that?
That we actually received invoices for. One was a window that was broken and the other one was a taillight that was damaged. Received invoices that showed me exactly what the cost of the replacement part was and what the labor was. And that's it. And you've authorized me under this policy to resolve the claims that are small like this, just so that we can process them more efficiently and not have to necessarily send them through the insurance carrier.
The driver's authorization policy, can you explain that?
The driver authorization policy, we actually adopted about this time last year. Our insurance carrier needed a list of everybody who drives on behalf of the county in order to prepare the quote for us for our rates for insurance. And they need to have on the employee's name, their driver's license number, I think their birth date, and then any moving violation, if you will, no parking tickets, but any tickets that might have been received or accidents over the period of the previous 12 months. In this case, because we have a set of records already, they only ask us to maintain this for 12 months. And so employees are asked to go online, complete the form, which is then put into a database that we provide to the insurance carrier at renewal each year. So last year it was, I'm going to say around September, when they asked for that, the database was ready. So any employee or volunteer who drives for us needs to complete that form, and then it's just simply provided to the carrier. There are criteria in there. If an individual has an unusually high number of accidents, the county can say, well, then you can't drive for us because you've got a record that suggests that you're a liability to us. We've had nobody that comes even close to that being a problem. In fact, I think in many cases, our employees are almost a little too honest because they're going back to things that happened in the 1990s. We don't need it that far back. We only need it for the prior year, but it's kind of nice to know that they're taking it very seriously even and pointing those out. And
then it looks like you also sent out the RFPs for the comprehensive inmate healthcare services, and the deadline of that is January 12th. Have you heard anything?
It's actually been rather active here in the last couple of weeks. We've got now 2 vendors who want to do a tour of the facility and 1 potential vendor who sent us a pretty extensive list of questions, all very pertinent to the RFP. Just wanted to clarify so that if they put in a proposal that they know all the ins and outs of our facility. But that's been fairly active. I'll be reconnecting, re-engaging with the undersheriff probably today about scheduling that tour. Like I said, I have at least 2 vendors who are interested in the tour. So that's a very positive sign.
And then I had some people ask me about the Pointer Hill. The Pointer Hill Park?
So Pointer Hill Park, back in, I believe it was 1999, the county signed a 50-year lease with a company that put a communications tower on that property. And when they did that, there was a footprint area for the tower that was outlined, and there was also a utility easement going to that tower. The owner of the tower wants to lease space to a local cell provider. In order to do that, they needed to upgrade the electrical to the tower itself. So through the easement that was already there with Consumers Energy, they were able to go in and do that. They did want to make sure the county was aware they were going in because some vegetation needed to be cleared so that they could put the line in. I did get pictures, I believe, day before yesterday through an email. You would hardly even be able to tell they were there. I was pretty concerned about that because personally I've gone through a situation where consumers came in and cleared an easement and just did a horrible job. And I was very, very aware of that and wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen here. But they did a great job cleaning up and making sure that the land that's disturbed was at least graded back to what it was prior. It's only a 10-foot easement, which obviously limited, the amount of area that needed to be cleared, but I have to say did a very good job. Now, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to reach out to us. They could have, under that lease, just gone ahead and did it. So I appreciate that they let us know it was happening, and I really appreciate the job they did.
Anything else?
Are you done with all the questions? Okay. I have a couple of things going through the same process. I understand the lawyers and you're doing fine with that, but I'm glad to see that we got a couple of just reports on these incidents. Do we have a policy in place where our department heads, elected officials, are to let us know about accidents, incidences, injuries, anything like that? Do we have a policy set in place for that? A couple of places that we reference that, but the most prevalent in both the current and the proposed personnel policies, there's a statement in there that those incidents are to be reported within 24 hours. We did go through, I can't remember exactly, it might have been this policy, but one of the policies that we've adopted here in the last few years also references the need to do that immediately. In many cases, particularly if it's a slip and fall or something of that nature, we report those to the carrier anyway when they happen. So it's important that they get turned around in 24 hours. And that way, if there is anything that occurs or maybe an injury that wasn't realized until a week later, we have the documentation we need to proceed with the insurance carrier in those cases. Okay. Our policy, are the reports coming through you? They do. Rather than just handling incidences by themselves. Right. So they come to me, and if then I move them on to where they need to go. Typically, it's the insurance carrier, and then if they need to take further action from there, I'm usually the communication point with the carrier. Okay. Well, I'd really like to make sure that you are, and that departments aren't just reaching out like a vehicle getting scratched or dented or something like that, damaged. I'd really like to not the department just handle whatever with a body shop or whatever. You need to know now where you're letting the insurance company aware of these settlements that we had, but we're not making claims, right? Because I believe we're about a $5,000 deductible. Yeah. So, yeah. Good. As far as the driver authorization, last year you said 122. They required after 2 weeks 46, employees, was that last year, 46, or this year?
This year, after 2 weeks, there were 46. Since this was put together, been about 5 or 6 more that have come through. I've asked the employees to complete it by January 1. For those who haven't yet completed, then I will involve department heads in making sure that we get them.
Our policy have anything about disciplinary action if they do not?
It does. I think the primary motivator, though, is most of our employees don't have a county vehicle assigned to them. So if they don't complete the form, then they're not eligible for reimbursement for any travel that goes on. So that tends to motivate people to get signed up.
Good. I think, well, I know that Jenny's aware, the other two commissioners, since you weren't here for the last, or maybe a bidding process back a couple of times ago, that we had an insurance company did not want to bid us because of high rates of accidents. They sent us a letter that said they did not want to bid it because of high rate of accidents. So
this is one of the things that they recommended.
Yeah, and I often said about training, you know, bringing in training, driver's training, whether it's just online or something, just something showing that we're trying, you know. What was the other here? Give me a second here. Yeah, I was a little disappointed here about our 50-year lease on the antenna up there, the tower. We had nothing else out of it. Yeah, well, they could do that, but because they should have been able to get on that tower and still get a lease payment out of the deal, you know. Okay, I guess yeah, I'm good.
Anything else? It looks like
I'm sorry. I got something. Let me just ask. I probably should have brought it on unfinished business. The West Branch Township has communicated to me again. I guess they don't understand what we're asking from them to get this park information. I understand how they're going to probably prepare a letter to each one of the commissioners. I told them to just go out and make sure that there's no covenants, no liens, nothing on this piece of property that we could make an agreement with. I told them that we were busy. You guys are asking, you guys do the homework.
why don't we put that on committee of the whole? Because that is something that we haven't talked about in quite some time.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be great.
To let them know that we haven't forgot about it.
Okay, next week.
Just to give you a quick update, and I forget the gentleman's name. He's on the transit committee. Has I don't know if he's a current supervisor or a current board member.
Board member would be Mike Durfee.
Yes. Was going to go back to the board because you know, we had talked at one of our prior committee of the whole meetings about splitting the cost of that survey, which is the big thing that's going to be done. And he said, "Okay, I'll get back to you." And I had completely forgotten about it until you just now brought it up. But it's been about 30 days. But he was going to ask if the board were willing to do that, and that's really the only other variable that's out there, other than actually assigning that to a surveyor.
Okay.
It's a special kind of a survey. The name of it escapes me, but it's more comprehensive than your typical meetings and bounds.
All right. I'll relay that.
I'm sorry. Has there been any other communication with consumers? Can we put that on committee of the whole too, related to the lighting and stuff in the county building?
Yeah, let's bring that up too. Yeah, sure.
Denise was concerned about the cost of what that survey was for the park there. She brought up, we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
What it was going to cost for that. Okay. Item 11, elected officials and department head reports. Clerk.
Yep, Brett Gildner, your Ogemaw County Clerk. Just letting you guys know the online vital request program that we went with. That is gonna go live tomorrow. So we have a bunch of flyers to take to the hospital for new births, to schools for new signups. Just different marketing to get around to the community. And then January 30th is the deadline for the May election for any millage language. And actually, hang on one second, and I'll give, well, yeah, so that's what we got. We are knee deep in February election.
Have you heard from anybody related to the May?
Not positively, just Charlie had talked to another transit committee member who talked to a school board member who said West Branch Rose City is going to be.
A little more to come on that. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Pleasure.
If you don't mind, I'll give my report from back here. Sorry.
No offense taken.
No offense, no offense, but I want to stand back here. The pending foreclosure notice is going to be in the paper this month, listing all the names, the parcels of anyone who is at risk of foreclosure. Just to make the taxpayers aware that they do have until April 1st to avoid the foreclosure process or to stop in and see me to talk about a hardship payment plan. I want to talk a minute about the land bank because we have some remarkable projects going on. We have 4 projects pending right now, 1 in Churchill Township, 1 in Rose Township, and 2 in the village of Prescott. We have RFPs on the Churchill Township and Rose Township projects that are due tomorrow, Friday. We have 2 projects for the village of Prescott that are pending project approval at the state land bank level. We're doing some significant and meaningful work in the community, and we're really proud of the work and progress that we're making with the land bank. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Questions? Sheriff?
No, I don't have one.
MSU,
If I may.
please.
Good morning. My name is Phil Durst. I'm with MSU Extension. First of all, let me thank you for my reappointment to the EDC board that was taken care of earlier. Second of all, Tuesday evening we had a meeting about TV up in Alpena. I thought you might be interested in some of the things that were presented, so I wanted to share that with you. The meeting was presented by MDARD, DNR, USDA Wildlife Services, and Michigan Department of Health. And one of the things that was unique in this meeting was a presentation about a new project that's going to take place February to April of 2024, in which they were going to place vaccine for TB in the wild and monitor deer for vaccine uptake. So the way it would work is that they have what they call vaccine delivery units, which are small edible things that contain the vaccine. The vaccine's been around for 100 years. It's BCG. It's effective in helping to prevent the spread of TB and the symptoms of TB that would surely slow down transmission of TB in deer and from deer. So it will be on particular farms. They will lay out a grid. They will have these VDUs, vaccine delivery units, located, and then they will monitor them with cameras. At about 30 days later, they will harvest deer, and the vaccine has a marker that they will be able to tell if the deer actually ate the vaccine unit. Okay, so there's a color marker that stains oral cavity. They'll do blood to see the antibody levels to the vaccination, and so this is the first time they've done it out in the wild. Right, so it is going to be on the farms of volunteers who volunteer for this. It's a very controlled study, but it's uncontrolled because it's in the wild. You're not leading deer to it. You're just saying, here it is. Here's locations that we believe the deer will come and eat it. And this is the first step to a maybe much larger program in which they would do it, of course, region-wide or something like that. But I think it's a great step. By next year, we should know more about how many deer actually consumed vaccine, got a significant level so that so that their antibody levels were up against TB, and therefore can reduce TB transmission. I do have the handout that was prepared for this, and I'll simply pass it around. I'll let you pass it around. At that same meeting, there was a person, a young woman who joined the meeting by video link, who described her experience with getting bovine TB. This was very powerful because she described the problems that she had and the 9-month treatment period that she had. It is believed that she, and this young woman, I'm going to say she's 20 to 23 or 4 years old. Okay, so fairly young woman. It's believed that she contracted TB as a 9-year-old in Kern area when there was kind of a community deer that was being fed by hand. They bottle fed a deer that was frankly sickly, emaciated, and may in fact have been TB infected, and that's what they believe now. Of course, you know, in hindsight, this is what happened, and she probably contracted TB at that point in life, 9 years old, and only in 2020, I believe it was, did symptoms appear, which took a while to be diagnosed, but were diagnosed ultimately as TB. The treatment for it was, she went through some harrowing experiences, and it was a very difficult time, which she's not fully recovered yet. But it was helpful to hear from her, because we often think of TB simply as a deer problem or as a cattle problem, not as a human problem. And there, she helped us understand the human problem. So I would be willing to take any questions from you if there's any, but thank you for the opportunity to present. Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Simmons.
It says Wildlife Services will harvest the deer from the trial. Does that mean they go out and shoot them?
Yes, that is what they'll do. They'll shoot them in order to harvest lymph node tissue, blood sample, and find out if the antibody levels are there, if the staining is there. That's the only way that they can do that.
So what are we going to do with the deer after kill them?
I don't know in this particular case, but whenever Wildlife Services is involved in control of deer, the advice are always given for food banks. And so, for instance, Wildlife Services harvested, I have a report here, it's got to be like 800 deer or so in the modified accredited zone in 2022, and all those deer are processed and given for food banks.
And that zone covers?
That zone is Alpena, Alcona, Oscoda, and Montmorency counties.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This one right here, I just want to know, how many counties is this going to cover this?
That is only right now up in the modified accredited zone, which is Alpena, Alcona,
okay,
Oscoda. And that's probably only going to be a limited area in probably Alpena and Alcona counties.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any elected officials or department heads on the phone? Jeff?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Anybody else? Managers on the floor, any commissioners?
I had at Edwards Township Hall, I had a meeting. I have to get with the health department. There seems to be an issue out on T Lake about people not disposing of their bodily discharges appropriately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll be getting with the health department on that, asking them why, you know, the health department knows about it and then they put it back on the township. It's like, so I need to look into that a little bit, see what's going on there. I don't understand it.
More to come.
More to come.
Any motions for adoption?
I guess the only other thing from the matter, as far as next week's meeting, is something to do with election. I think we should leave that on committees of whole meetings throughout this year.
Something to do with what?
Elections, millage questions, things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Okay,
We should keep that on the front burner.
absolutely.
Good idea.
Any other motions for adoption? No. Commissioner reports. Do you have anything to report, Commissioner Mayo?
I went to Groves Township and they are talking about their marijuana dispensary deal. They get an application license is $5,000, but they don't get it until they get the license, I guess. And they figure they're gonna get 50,000 a year for that. And that seemed to be their big thing, other than they don't want to pay any more in taxes than they're already paying. Kind of mess up to them.
For the villages?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
All right, go to my thing from going to the health department. That's the only thing I have is really from Edwards Township.
Commissioner Scott?
Foster Township, I was up there the other night. Their fire department's gonna buy a ice rescue suit. They voted to increase the election pay for the clerk to $1,500 per election.
That's a lot.
It's a really lot.
Say that again?
They increased in pay to $1,500 per election for the clerk. Yeah.
What was it before? To increase by 1,500 or a total of 1,500?
No, by 1,500 in addition to clerk's pay. Yeah.
Per election?
Per election. Yeah.
Is that? Oh, I guess I don't understand.
Well, the clerk thought that she deserved it.
For what township?
Foster, Clear Lake.
Okay, I'm just.
Area. Okay.
What is typical for that pay?
I don't know.
I've never heard that discussion.
Probably 12,000 a year. I don't.
A year, yeah.
Probably 1,000
got,
a month or something like that. Yeah.
2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. I sent the state started putting a little bit more on the local clerks for elections. So I had sent out a letter to all the township supervisors stating that, basically saying I'm in support of giving the clerks a little bit more for elections. Yeah. So a couple years ago they got it, and then
I don't know. They in conversation, they were saying that they were understanding there was a few township clerks in the county that will probably not run again, just because of the increased duties and everything else. I don't know if you guys are hearing that in any of your townships. I don't know, but I understand they some things the townships are getting increased workload on. I don't know. That's what they did up there. They also did a formal vote to approve the county doing the early voting duties. I don't know if you heard that yet or not, Rick, but they did enough form instead of just discussion. They did a formal vote on it. That
the clerk's office will do the early voting.
Yeah. Other than that, up there, that's it wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on. I went to the city meeting a couple of weeks ago. They had some regular business. They had mostly all regular business going. It was a pretty quick meeting. Ogemaw Township, I was able to go that last month. They're entering an agreement with the city over the water. We're looking at hooking into the water, co-joining the two water systems together over the next couple of years. But pretty much wasn't a lot of thought. Parks and Rec meeting was yesterday. The RV park is still closed. We're checking to see about just emptying the dumpster once a month instead of every week. We don't need it every week. And our director at our caretaker at the deer park is recovering from his illnesses pretty well. He isn't back home just yet, but the deer, his son is taking care of the deer and very good. And so things are going good there. Airport meeting will be next week. The road commission, I was out there a week ago. You know, they're just looking at costs so far of winter. Not too bad yet, but they've been out doing some salting. There was a gentleman from, I don't know, Rose or Hill Township that came in, talked about his son was involved in an accident on a slushy roads and really wanted Rose City Road done earlier, you know, public comment, you know. So that's where I've been.
I've been to Michigan Works, had their meeting Monday night at the place in Gladwin, their Christmas party, the Riverwalk in Gladwin. They always put on a very, very nice Christmas party. I attended that with my mom. They had some good stories there, one from each county that they represent. Some individuals that found help through Michigan Works. They honored them. One was a firefighter, one was a nurse, other one was a truck driver. Another one was a worked through the school, a parapro. So they were there with their families. There was quite a bit of legislators that were there. They had a really, really nice turnout, and they do that every year. It was a quick meeting, basically just approving our minutes and having those few rewards. And Michigan Works does a really nice job. I had 911 meeting last night. There's been some, I believe 2 staff turnovers. So there was a little bit of overtime this past month, but not much. In the process of communicating with the state, doing some updates with the authority. That 911 is now. Surcharges were briefly discussed. Not doing anything with them this year. I also attended Churchill Township this past last week. They spent some of their monies on paving with their substation from the COVID relief money. They had some concerns about the job that was done with the paving company and MDOT. They're in the process of fixing that. They're discussing how they're going to spend the rest of their funds. They've done some renovations there to their building, trying to maintain the history of the township meeting there in Churchill and Selkirk. They're talking about the project from the land bank. They're very grateful for that. I missed Hill and Logan. I had some Christmas programs going on. So I think that's been it for me. Anybody? We miss anybody?
Nope.
General public comment. Is there any general public? Oh,
I got one more thing. Excuse me, I got one more thing. I've been asked at township hall meetings about, you know, they talked about the millages and they want to know how many, and I told them what millage were going to be on from the list that I had. And they said, what will be gone if the millages don't pass? And I said, right now, we don't know, but we're trying to be proactive instead of reactive. And that's what the budget committee is doing, is looking at stuff, what would be gone? Because I don't want to be reactive now. What do? We want to be proactive and bring it to the board. What our findings are as far as if the millages don't pass, where we are right now and what our thoughts are about where the cut should be. Because I told them right now we have no idea, and we'll start working on that after the first of the year. So just to let you know. And they said it's up to the people, however they vote. They asked me questions. What do you think? And I said, I don't have any idea. I don't know how the people are going to vote. I have no idea. I wouldn't want to even venture a guess. So it all depends what they want and what they don't want.
I do think the turnout in February is going to be a little more than typical.
I think it will be also.
So we shall see. It is a hot topic. General public comment. Any general public comment in the room? General public comment on the phone?
To adjourn.
Support. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned at 10:09. Thanks, guys.